All right, we're live. All right, man. It's good to have you on the channel again. We haven't spoken in it's been a couple months, right? I think I was on your channel a few months ago.
Several months, actually. I feel
Yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah. So go ahead and just tell my audience where they can find you if they don't already know who you are.
Well, I'm Avenus Hermes Justin Wilson, and you can find me where you see my name, Avenus Hermes, on YouTube. And you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is Justin7DA, as in Seventh Day Adventist. And I guess Facebook is Justin Wilson. You just have to look. I guess you can find me with my name, Avenus Hermes, too. So that's where you can find me.
Cool. Well, let's just jump right in. So there's a lot going on with this Ahmaud Arbery case. I think we all knew that as soon as the footage leaked, we already knew we would end up in this exact spot where people have dug in their heels, taken sides. The race baiting is coming out. The chaos, just total chaos, right? So what are your thoughts just on the case in general? Like, what was your reaction when you first saw the video? Did you already know it was like, did you already draw a conclusion, or did you wait to see if more came out?
Honestly, I did draw a conclusion. I took the narrative that, it was him jogging. I didn't have any reason to doubt that at the time. At first, my initial vision of or reaction to the video was, oh, why is he fighting those guys? That's just dumb. Like, what? Okay, I guess it's somewhat justified, because if you are running towards someone and trying to grab their gun, then I guess the only way to survive that altercation is to shoot the guy, because he can take your gun and shoot you. So, it made sense to me that that was self-defense on the part of those two white men. But then once I got the narrative that he was jogging or something, and that it was his regular routine to jog in that neighborhood, I thought, okay, well, I guess that was they're wrong, because what's he going to do about that? I mean, it seemed like they chased him down. They got to the middle of the road, waited for him, and he had no choice but to fight for his life. So I took that narrative and accepted it and thought, oh, well, I guess they might be racist. I didn't assume they were racist. I just assumed they might be, like most people. So that was me. But now, as things are, I guess, opening up, and you start, learning new details, that he doesn't even live near that neighborhood to be jogging, all the way over there. And the fact that, he was found in somebody else's property, construction site, the whole jogging narrative started to evaporate. So yeah, that's my awakening now to this subject. And yeah, I didn't go full force onto the idea that they were racist, just because the killers were white and the victim was black. And the thing is, when you look at their face, they look like the stereotypical racist. Like, if I was to make a movie about racism, I would cast those two guys, because they have that
so true. It's so true.
Kind of hillbilly kind of look. And so it just made the story even easier to accept that those guys were racist. But no,
yeah,
it's not necessary to assume that.
You're freezing up a little bit there, bro.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're good now. You're good now. Yeah, yeah. I would say, like, for me, here's what's crazy. This is actually sad. We can't trust the media. It's sad that whenever a news story comes out and it's big and it's breaking, I instantly go to, well, is it true? I'm going to wait and see what happens, right? Because back in 2016, and this is what I said in my initial video, when I put out my first video about this, I said, I knew right away not to rush to judgment. Been there, done that. Back in 2016, when all those shootings were happening, I was like getting all in my feelings. I got mad. I was upset. And then the facts came out, and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. There's a whole lot more to that story than what they told me. And because we know that the media is constantly trying to race bait, they're constantly looking to incite a race war. So whenever they can dump gasoline on something that looks racially motivated, they can turn it into whatever they want. And that's why you have all this hyperbole, like, oh, it's lynching. He was lynched. You know, just the way that they jump to this, I already knew right off top, like, I'm just going to sit back and chill. I'm going to give my initial reaction to it, which my initial reaction was, okay, the video itself, it looks pretty damning. It looks like this dude was murdered in cold blood. That's what I said. But I also said I'm going to wait for more to come out. Because, I mean, we've seen this so many times before.
Uh-oh, you frozen on my side.
Oh, I don't know.
You good?
Can you guys see us? I know your screen was frozen a little bit, but my router's fine. I reset it every time I go live. So
yeah.
hopefully the sound is good. You guys let us know in the comments if you can't see or hear us. But, you know, when this whole case happened, I just looked at all the other cases that have happened, and I know that they're so anxious. They're salivating to divide the country along racial lines that I'm like, I'm just going to wait and see. I'm not just going to be sold on the idea that, well, it was a black dude killed by white people, therefore it equals racism. Because 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. Like, I just have a hard time believing that 2 people were like, let's get in the back of our pickup truck with shotguns and chase down a black man. Like, why even waste a bullet? If it's about that, you could just run them over with your truck. You know what I mean? So just any kind of logical thinking would lead you to want more information before you develop some kind of conclusion, right? And so now that I've waited, I see more information coming out. But see, the thing is, you can't even have that position. The position that I just said where I'm...
Oh, I was getting good too. Slowing down on my side. Okay, you're back.
Damn. It must be my router then. That's crazy. Said Mike froze up. Can you guys hear me now? Is everything good now? Oh, okay. I think I was saying that I was talking about how, you know, you can't even have the position that you're going to just wait for more information, because most people who rush to the conclusions right away, they take that as, well, you side with the killers. You believe in racism. You're just giving these guys a pass. They just constantly lob all these straw man arguments at you just for wanting more information. It's like, are we supposed to all just agree on one thing? Because we all have brains. We all see things differently. So for people who are just so tied up in their emotions to be like, well, you don't see it this way, you're letting the killers off the hook. It's the craziest thing. It just shows how effective these stories are at driving division. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I there was some legitimate argument of valid points on both sides. That's the thing. It's just that when we start saying, "Oh, you're just for the racist," and you're always giving white people a slot, just a pass, or you're always caping for white. That's when we start doing that emotional thing, and we don't actually look at like facts, or at least reasonable arguments. And I could see on both sides. The guys did not have any intentions to go kill the man, but they did have intentions of defending themselves in case he was armed or something like that, which makes sense to me, because they don't know this guy from Adam. If they believe this guy was stealing, then yeah, I mean, he may be bad enough to actually have a gun on himself too. So, I mean, who knows? It's just that the moment they went over there, like actually drove towards him, stopped and waited for him, that's where I think they lose any self-defense argument. Like, hey, I came here to defend myself. Because you don't chase the guy down and then point the gun at him and then say self-defense. So I think that's the real debate there, whether they can argue self-defense while being actually the initiator of the aggression, pointing the gun at someone. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Like, it's just
Hmm.
Just accept that you're being arrested by a citizen. If that's the case, then I don't know, just put your finger up at someone and say you're being arrested and you're
Yeah.
supposed to freeze. Like, no, I mean, you should have the other person should have the right to assume he's innocent and fight back. I mean, that's the real debate there. Not whether the guy was black or white and the guy is actually racist or not. Unless we find evidence of him actually saying, I hate those N words, then yeah, we could definitely talk about that, and it would make
Hmm.
sense to agree
Yeah.
that those guys are racist.
And see, that's why this is exactly why I didn't want to get into the weeds. I know some YouTubers have gotten into it. Like, is it self-defense on Ahmaud's side or on the guy or on the shooter's side? People are getting into the weeds. Everybody's trying to play armchair detective. I'm not going to do that. That's why I just focused on the media aspect of it, how this is going to be used to divide America further because they've been itching for something like this. We've seen it so many times before. We're going to see more of it this year. You think this is going to be the last case? No, there's probably going to be at least 2 to 3 more cases this year that get blown up in the media, get sensationalized because it can satisfy a narrative. So I've been focusing on that aspect more than the details of the case. The extreme details of the case, like the video, it's just way too complicated, too nuanced. I don't understand law. There's a lot of people that don't understand law, but they act like they're just going to be a detective and determine who's guilty and who's not. I'm like, man, it's an unfortunate situation all around. And it's also funny. Somebody said this on, I think it was Kingface on Instagram.
Hmm.
He said, are you, for the people that are saying, well, they should have just called the cops. Those are the same people who are like, the cops are hunting us down too.
I
So
know.
it's like, I think that those guys are, I think I didn't do a good enough job saying that those guys were idiots for chasing him down. Like if I saw that in my neighborhood, if I saw someone looking in there and if I knew that there was like a no trespassing sign or something like that, of course I'll be suspicious, but I personally am not going to get in my Jeep and go hunt them down like a vigilante. That's not how I am. That's not who I am. I think that those guys were stupid because now look at the situation. If they could take it back, I'm willing to bet that they would, which is again why this was about racism and a black man can't just go jogging. That narrative is retarded. And that's why that narrative fell flat, because it makes zero sense. I don't think that there are many people in the country who are like, let's go hunt down black people. Let's take murder charges. Let's go spend the rest of our lives in prison so that we can kill one person. And then for the mayor of Atlanta, this dishonest, disgusting woman, to say, well, it's because of the rhetoric coming from the White House. It's like, what rhetoric? What rhetoric are you talking about? What has Trump said? What dog whistles has Trump said that signals to all the racists in America, because they really needed Trump to greenlight their racism?
MAGA country. It was MAGA country. That was the magic word that actually caused, I guess, his racist zombies to go out and do his biddings. Just say MAGA country, and people just start, oh, we go kill black people.
They're like, yeah, y'all hear that, boys? All right, get the pickup trucks and the shotguns and the bloodhounds. Let's go hunt us down some black folks. Like, there are people who are, I guess, dumb enough to believe that. I guess maybe they watch Don Lemon. I don't know. But just the way that they're using this to try to drive that racial wedge is what I feel like is more effective to fight, because these cases are going to just keep coming and coming and coming.
Yeah.
But it's all just misdirection, so that we're not looking at Bill Gates wanting to inject us with poison. I mean, come on. It doesn't matter what color you are. They're trying to implement this tracking system, this total surveillance and restriction on human rights. Like, we're so close to becoming communist China. I know that this HR 6666 bill is not going to pass the House, the Senate, and make it to the president's desk. But the very fact that people would even implement that should be something that unites everyone. But, here we are talking about this case and talking about racism in America. We're being hunted down. Are we being hunted down? What are your thoughts? Are we being hunted down?
Nah, and speaking about hunting, like I can sympathize with those two men, because my neighborhood, we had several robberies in a matter of like months for some reason, and I was nervous. I was like, oh shoot, they're gonna come for my house eventually because I'm not as secure as these other houses. And some of the descriptions, like a close friend of ours of me, um, they got robbed. They took I guess their little TV and some other like computer, laptops and stuff. So I'm just thinking, oh shoot, I got expensive equipment too, and they're gonna start, come for me. So I was just waiting. I was just thinking it's a matter of time. But they gave descriptions. They said, oh, it was a black guy, and it was this guy and that person. So I was just looking out for any guy who fit that description, regardless. And even if there was a guy who was smoking cigarettes in my front of my yard, I'm still looking at him suspiciously. If he's just walking back and forth and just kind of looking around, I'm like, okay, this guy could be the one or just another one. And I found myself actually wanting to follow them, see where they were going to go. And if I was dead certain that this guy stole something, then yeah, I would follow them. In fact, it actually happened to me where I just went out to just throw out trash, and someone backed up. They just did a fast, reverse on their car, backed up, and drove up real close to me. And they said, "Oh, it's you, Justin." They thought I was a thief because I was black. I was just my friend. But the point is that like their intentions weren't to go hunt black people or just kill black people as a race. No, their intentions was to get a thief. Period.
Right.
Happened to be black, and the description was he was black. Someone says, "Hey, there's a white guy, with this and that, this or that tattoo, in the neighborhood that is actually, stealing." If I go chase him down, it's not because he's white. It's because he fits the description. That's it. So, yeah. I mean, if the person happened to look like the other guy, okay, but that doesn't mean, you're racist towards white people or black people. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's weird to follow somebody around, honestly. That's why I say I just look at myself in a situation like that. I would call the police if somebody on my block was getting robbed, if someone was suspicious. I've seen kids look in construction properties, right? But they're kids, you would tell somebody, like, find their parents or say, "Hey, what are you guys doing in there?" Because kids 9 times out of 10 are up to no good. But if you see an adult in there, you probably wondering like what's really going on. Kids are just going to be kids, but adults doing it. And for people to try to normalize it, it's weird to chase somebody down. Yes. But it's weird, I think, to trespass on private property, whether it's against the law or not. It's not yours. Like, I just don't see why. Like, that's like saying, oh, it's normal to just walk by someone's car and peer in and see what they have in their car. Like, oh, what's the dashboard look like? No, that stuff is weird. I wouldn't do it myself, but people try to normalize it, right? Try to make it seem like, oh, it's just what guys do. That's what them fools on the Daily Wire were saying. Oh, it's just what guys do. I always stop on a jog. I'm like, really? You do that at night too? You go on a jog and you're like, oh, there's a construction site. Let me just go walk in there for 5 minutes. If that's something that's normal, then why would the owner of the home have security cameras set up inside of it? Right? It's weird. It's weird stuff, man. It's like that stuff is not normal, but we're pretending like it is. People are doing mental gymnastics and they keep on making it seem like that's just what he does. This is what people do. He loved to run 10 miles away from his house. And I'm not saying, I always have to say, I'm not justifying the shooting because people have selective hearing. They're hearing right now, some people, Mike, you're justifying the shooting. They can't focus on what I'm saying right now. It's like people need to wake up, snap out of it, pull your emotions away from it, and realize that there are some weird anomalies with this specific case. I don't think either side was innocent, but I'm not saying he deserved to die. When I think about the initial clip, I looked at it and I'm like, so wait, did he run towards the guy with the gun or not? I was just like, I need to see more. But there's 2 ways you can respond to this. It's like fight or flight. So maybe his response was to go fight. For me, if I saw two people with guns chasing me down, I'm going to run. Because I'm outnumbered. It's fight or flight. But some people would be like, no, I'm going to go and try to wrestle the gun away or whatever it was that happened. So I think that's what it was. It's just way too ticky-tack for me to draw a conclusion other than they shouldn't have been chasing him down, but he was also suspicious. People suspected him of committing crime. So there was reason for suspicion. So take the race out of it, take all of these other things that people have added in just to make it worse and politicize it.
Yeah, yeah. And I totally understood why he fought. I mean, it just makes sense. Like for me, I was just looking at the video and I'm seeing, okay, if he really thought he was going to get shot, just assume that, then it makes sense that he would go behind the car and to avoid anyone shooting at him, because at least he has the car for cover, and then kind of do a sneak attack and attack the person just to take the gun away. Because if he because I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait, he can just go like any direction he wants. He can just go, across the grass and just say, hey guys, stop, don't shoot me, don't shoot me. But if he really felt like they were going to kill him, then it makes sense for him to run close to the guy who had the shotgun, because he wouldn't be able to have enough room to aim it and try to take it away from him. I guess he didn't he didn't calculate the fact that his son, the guy on the truck, had a gun also. So I mean, he's definitely outnumbered, and it just on video it just looks stupid for him to do that. But besides that, the thing is, like, when you look at this whole scenario, we should be able to talk about it without race, and that's the point. The reason why we're bringing race into this, some people, is because they want to make a point, and others, they just really want to create more race wars, because their narrative is that America is as racist as I believe it is, and this proves it. So please don't tell me anything that disproves my narrative. But so the whole jogging thing, oh yeah, they went off with the jogging thing. So now they're running 3 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
Running with Arbery, and now you talk about the video of him actually being inside the property. Well, what are they going to be walking into properties for Arbery too? Are they going to be trespassing for Arbery? Like they're stuck, but they have to stay with their white versus black narrative, or hey, I'm having solidarity with black people narrative type of thing. So this is the thing. Like, now they have to make it about race, and they're stuck with race. So I mean, they put themselves in this corner, I think.
Yeah. And of course, when you have these people, these mouth breathers with platforms that are just spewing ignorance, like LeBron James, people like that, the reason why I get so fiery about it is because, yeah, he's a celebrity. Nobody should pay him attention. But the fact of the matter is, people do pay him attention, and he has so much responsibility, and he's using it to misguide people, mislead people, saying that we're literally hunted down. We're not hunted down. If white people are hunting down black people, they're doing a terrible job of it, because I have yet to be hunted down, and I don't know anybody that's been hunted down. And if we were truly being hunted down, why aren't there 50 to 100 stories every single day? The fact is, we're hunting ourselves down, and we don't want to talk about that. In fact, if you say it, some people say, you're coming with the whataboutisms and stuff. It's like, when are we ever going to be able to talk about it? We try to bring it up all the time, even when there's not a white on black homicide case or whatever. If there's not a police brutality case, black conservatives at least are always talking about the problems in the inner city. Mm-hmm. And we try to bring it up when it's like, when the Black Lives Matter crowd comes out, like, oh, we care about black people. We love black people. No justice, no peace. I'm like, take your ass to Chicago, St. Louis, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New Jersey. Go to some of these inner cities. If you truly care about black lives, let's stop the bleeding where it's bleeding the most. right? Instead of focusing on all of our attention on this one specific issue. And we all know it's because it's an election year. It sounds like I'm putting on a tinfoil hat when I say it, but this is all contrived. They had this news story back in February. They could have put it on CNN and ABC News back in February when it happened. They saved it for now. They're going to bring up more stories. They have them in the vault because their ultimate goal is to just make us single issue voters. They're afraid. They're terrified of Black people seeing what's going on. They're afraid of us seeing that we've been manipulated and taken it.
Frozen there for me. Okay, you're back.
It froze again?
Yeah.
Damn, this usually doesn't happen. I don't know if it's StreamYard, YouTube, or my router.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Or if it's, I don't know. Could be something else. Could be telling the truth too much.
Yeah. Slowing people's internet down selectively.
Right.
They have that.
But yeah, it's just, you know, I just was saying, like, it's just they're trying to take advantage of the Black vote. So the best way to do that is to continue making us single issue voters, distracting us with racism and hate crimes, calling this a hate crime, and we're hunted down every day. And well, this gets old.
This would make a good distraction from, I guess, people actually joining and their contempt against governors or leftist governors who want to keep the country hostage. With this whole coronavirus stuff, it's making them look real bad because I think a lot of governors or just leftist leaders, they're trying to out leadership Donald Trump and, you know, create these, I guess, these laws and these restrictions to show how great of a leader they are, so that maybe, you know, in the future they could become president, you know, by, you know, talking about their resume. So they're just overdoing it. But at the same time, they're also trying to make it hard for Donald Trump to succeed with the country, seeing that, I mean, he's been weathering this storm very well. I mean, this whole coronavirus thing, he hasn't taken like one strong side exactly. So it's hard for them to nail him down. So because of that, they needed something like this. They needed something like this to, you know, I guess, create more dissension against Donald Trump, seeing that, oh, wait, you know, the whole Donald Trump is a racist narrative that always works. But it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And the thing about Donald Trump's response in regards to this is that he had more sympathy for Arbery. So they couldn't nail him. They couldn't say, oh, he's racist. And, you know, I find that it's interesting that I think a lot of conservatives, they're okay with Donald Trump sympathizing with the family, because I think most people agree that it was an unjustified killing. People can understand why they killed him, but they were still in the wrong, period. So from that point on, yes. But when it comes to the whole narrative of him being racist and this and that, that's the debate. But nevertheless, Donald Trump, he sympathized with the family, which was a good thing. And now no one can say, oh, Donald Trump is being racist. I mean, how are they going to spin it? Like they're going to say, oh, well, he's just saying that what he needs to say, but really he wanted those guys to do it. I can tell his heart, he wanted this.
Right. He has his fingers crossed behind his back when he says it. He's winking and nodding to the alt-right, those Southern racist white Trump supporters that hunt down blacks every day. They'll spin it. No, they'll spin it and say, why is Donald Trump taking sides in an open investigation? He's obstructing justice. Impeach. But then, you know, these people have very short memories because they forget that Obama sent White House staff to the funeral of Michael Brown. Michael Brown was an actual violent criminal, never had his hands up. Michael Brown had it coming to him. I'm sorry, it's just true. People get mad about that, but you can get mad all day. The truth fears no scrutiny. It's the truth. Obama got engaged in that. He said Trayvon Martin could have been his son. Obama really actually divided this country because he took a stance on things like this instead of letting the justice system take hold. And I understand that Black people in this country, we feel jaded because we haven't always had freedom here. We haven't always had the justice system treat us fairly. And in some instances, they still don't. But more often than not, justice gets served in cases like this. There's been a few that haven't been, but cases like Walter Scott in South Carolina. Remember that dude? The dude that was on camera running away. Back was towards the police running away, and they shot him a bunch of times and he died. And everybody in America agreed, lock that bastard up. And that's what they did. Mm-hmm. But we just don't see that things have improved in the country, right? So we still have a ways to go, but I think we can say that the justice system isn't rigged against us because we're Black. You know, if anything, we need to step up and realize that there's problems in our own community that are so much deeper than situations like this. It's just the truth. People get upset, they get angry, they get in their feelings, they name call, they ad hominem attack, and then they always come with these straw man arguments like, that must mean you agree with this killing. It's like, no matter how many times you say it, they just don't like that you didn't draw the exact same conclusion that they did at the time that they did.
Yeah. And my thing is, the greatest enemy to Black people is our own self-image, the image that we give to ourselves and then to the world about ourselves. And when we paint ourselves as thugs and criminals on, music videos and stuff, and then we're looking at other races saying, I dare you think of us as a rapper. I dare you think of us as a basketball player. I dare you think of us as like a gangster. I dare you. When we're like egging this on, we're wanting people to look at us this way as hard and strong and not soft. But then when they kind of assume that of us, then we're like, oh my goodness, how dare you believe that most Black people are gangsters? And I'm like, come on, you're marketing us as this. And then you have the nerve, like I just can't respect, someone's opinion 100%. If they turn up gangster rap music and they say, I can't believe they really thought this guy was a gangster. And then they listen to a bunch of music that's saying, I'm a gangster, I'm a real N-word, I'm a real nigga, or something like that. Like,
yeah, it's dumb.
A real nigga. And you're identifying a real nigger as a guy who's do anything grimy, who will not snitch on his band of criminals, who would, pretty much punch an old lady in the face to show how strong he is or how boldly evil he is. Please do not watch a rap battle. Now, of course, you're not supposed to take it seriously, kind of, but I mean, some of those guys, they're for real. They say they're not faking. They're not wanksters. They're actually real gangsters who just happen to rap. So I'm just saying, like, the image of, don't get mad that people actually believe you when you tell lies. That's the thing. If you're saying that that rap people being a Black person is, part of it is being a gangster. Don't get mad when someone actually believes you, and then also believe that about someone else that may not be a gangster. When I think that someone is actually identifying me as some thug, I don't get mad at the person right away. I get mad at the image, like these rap songs that talk about me and say this is what being Black is. And it's true, because if a white person started acting like a rapper or a thug, guess what they say? You're trying to act Black.
Yeah.
White people don't say that. Black people say that.
I think that it's actually a deeper thing. I've talked about this on my channel before, so my subscribers know this. Black culture has been co-opted by Marxists and totalitarians. And these Marxists, what they've done is destroyed the Black image. The Black image after slavery ended was, we had a strong family core. We had strong conservative values, right? We believed in our leaders. We had leaders like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. We had Rosa Parks. Now we have Cardi B, right? We got these losers. We used to have the Cosby Show. We had Family Matters on TV. Now we've got the Ghetto Housewives of Atlanta, and we celebrate ignorance. Why do ignorant rappers, why does Meek Mill get all of this praise? But then on TV, they call Ben Carson a porch monkey on national television. You can't make this stuff up. How come on CNN, you got black people crying and acting all soft and fragile and weak? The portrayal of us is weak on TV. At least on Fox News, we're talking about the stock market. You got black people coming on that are articulate. They're not race baiting. They sound educated and confident. And I'm not trying to make it a left-right thing, but people who have conservative values, I think, are a better representation of the community. People with liberal values in the community, they just adopt whatever the Marxists who are in charge, which are the white liberals, are putting out there. Like, oh yeah, we're LGBT this year. This is our big campaign for the year. Next year, it's going to be the trans community. And it's like the black community, because the leaders in our community are on the left, they just adopt all of that. They just adopt it all and just transform it, try to transmute it into what the black community should be standing for. And it's like, we're not getting anywhere doing that.
Yeah.
People need to think for themselves, come to their own conclusions, recognize that the people, if you want to blame white people for anything, if you want to say white people are racist, blame the white people that are the closest to the community. White liberals, white Democrats. White liberals and white Democrats always come at me with racism. I sent you that picture this morning. You guys can see it on my Facebook page. Guy called me a bootlicking Uncle Tom, and I responded. I said something like, you're definitely not racist at all. I was pretty much sarcastic with him. It doesn't bother me anymore. And I said, God bless you. And he said, I'm a minister and I have 2 black sons. And then he said something else racist. I'm like, white liberals in America are very comfortable being racist towards people like you and me. They'll look us in our eyes and say, you're a race traitor. You're an Uncle Tom sellout. These are white people that are saying it. But see, this again, that's why I say the truth is a value, because if we want to talk about some real racism in America, I just gave you a couple examples. If we want to talk about black people being hunted down, we can talk about the Tyshawn Lees of the world. We can talk about Jasmine Barnes. We can talk about the black kids in St. Louis that get shot in their homes while they're doing homework. We can talk about the black on black crime. We can talk about black genocide in the womb. See, we can have conversations that are based in truth, but the truth doesn't always line up with the way people feel. And that's why they reject it. And that's why they look at cases like this and they try to say, we're hunted down, because they need to validate their feelings. They need cases like this so they can latch on and milk it for all it's worth, because they don't see it in their daily life. So they're having this cognitive dissonance. They want to believe that all white people are racist and they hate us and America's against us, even though there's not many examples of it. So when they get an example like this that fits that description, they run with it.
Mm. Yeah, it's a fun thing when your bias is being confirmed. So yeah, like I get a tickle when people call me Coon or Uncle Tom or something like that. But they are the ones who actually paint themselves as the inferior. You know, they're doing the thing that I guess the racists, the white supremacists want them to believe, is that they are the oppressed, that they are the weakling, that they are not the predator. They are always the prey. And I'm like, don't you see how weak that position is? You don't feel that way? Like, talking about how often you lose to white people, you don't feel inferior. I mean, come on. I mean, that's not a good look. I mean, as a child growing up and then, becoming an adult and all that, I never respected that kind of thinking. I just thought, you're still a loser though. Like, you're making our whole race just losers, but you think it's cool. So you're just making being a loser to a race great, which is backwards. And that was my whole issue with this narrative of, oh, white people are hunting us down. Oh my goodness, we got to go protect ourselves. And I'm like, y'all swear that white people are just always attacking you, attacking you, attacking you. But really, if you look at it just objectively, we are destroying ourselves. We kill more white people than it's the other way around. And then on top of that, we're still losing economically speaking. How, like, there's no excuse at that point. I mean, we should be dominating. I mean, if we're killing them off at a higher, rate, then we should be winning. We should at least get a better payback. But how we're still losing? Like, why do you still feel like a loser? After all, I guess they don't care about the statistics of, black against white crime. They don't care about. They don't probably acknowledge it because to acknowledge it, that would be racist.
Right.
But it's like they no matter how they look at the narrative, they still want to see themselves as losers. Like we were just talking about LeBron James. He's like black people being hunted down. Dude is like millionaire. I guess he could be on his way, if theoretically in the future, to be a billionaire. But there's this invisible ceiling that they love to believe in, that they cannot succeed because the white man is putting them down. So it's like they love that narrative, no matter how successful they become or how at fault they are. They want to be, I guess, the losers to feel sympathy or something like that. I don't like that. That just feels icky to me. Like, ew.
Yeah, it's such a cringe perspective. Shout out to RJ. Thank you for the super chat. He said, yes, two of my favorite YouTubers together on the stream. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, it's very cringe, man. And it's people have an inferiority complex. It's because we don't have any. We do have images of, strength and positivity and a can-do attitude in the forms of like Clarence Thomas and different black politicians, Ben Carson, but they get trashed. Like we literally will celebrate ignorance. Somebody said in the comments that Mike is talking stereotypes, but won't give me an example. Oh, here we go. Let's read his comment. Let's put it on the screen. We're gonna put this guy on blast. Timothy 7. Mike is not speaking about me. I'm a lawyer and a youth pastor. I graduated near the top of my class and got through college without affirmative action or scholarships. He is not talking about me. Okay, cool. I'm not talking about you. Good.
Cool.
But good for you, man. But hey, the truth of the matter is the ignorance is what gets celebrated. The stereotypes are what gets put on television. You're going to tell me there's no black stereotypes on TV? What world are you living in? Let's not be fake about this. Don't do mental gymnastics. I would love to get somebody like this that comes on and explains their position, because there's not a lot that you and I are saying that can be refuted or debunked. Like in the black community, we literally will put ignorant people on TV to be spokeswomen. We'll let them speak on our behalf. They think they're speaking on our behalf. They'll get millions of Instagram followers. They just make us look bad on TV. They put out these narratives. They're crying on CNN. These are the black news anchors. This is supposed to be the face of the black community. This is why I believe in individuality, because nobody represents me. Nobody represents my interests. I don't believe in tribalism and groupthink. I believe in coming to your own conclusions and making sense of the world through your own eyes and through your own experience. That's why God made us as individuals, period. Not everybody that looks like you is for you, and not everybody that doesn't look like you is against you. Hence, Obama and Trump. Trump has done more for black people than any other president, probably since Abe Lincoln. Obama did more for the LGBT community and dreamers than he did for black people. What did he give us? Cell phones? The Obama phone? He got more black people on food stamps than any other president. If we want to get into facts about that, let's do it. That's all I got to say. I just had to let that guy know real quick. Let's see what he has to say next. I'm happy he's watching.
Yeah, and the thing is, people always quote the exception to the rule, which actually proves that there are stereotypes because they're like, look at me, I'm not like this. We're all not like that. Well, duh, most,
right?
Not all, but I'm glad those exceptions exist to encourage the most to say, look, you don't have to, fit this stereotype, because I don't like when it, like a movie or just media in general, where they're talking about what it's really like living in the Black community or something. The the things that we have to go through. I like to watch it just for educational purposes, in a sense. But then at the same time, I know it's programming me and everyone that this is what it means to be Black. For the child or for the adult, everyone is looking at this and saying, "This is it. This is it." For all the thousands of videos, it is that. I prefer, just for a good sense of being, I prefer to watch Black lawyers, intelligent intelligent people taking roles as Black people or whatever, just so that we could build our self-image. But those are exceptions. It's such an exception that when it does happen, we celebrate it. So
I know.
it's proof that we have such a strong stereotype about ourselves that to deny it and say, "Oh, those are stereotypes." Well, duh. I mean, this is what we made for ourselves. But besides that, I kind of wanted to get also into the fact that, like, this debate has kind of divided Black conservatives a little bit. There has been some infighting here and there because I think they found this as an opportunity to, like, have solidarity with people on the left who says, "Yeah, I see racism. I see racism," and many people on the right, or Black conservatives, or just people in general, say, "Yeah, you know what? I can agree to that. This was a racially motivated crime." And with that, they say, "Well, see, we could see racism just like you could see racism. We just see it when we see it, and we call it when it's there. We don't just call everything racist like you do. We just see this incident, and we call it racist, and we have our senses working, our minds are working, but we just don't go crazy, just use racism like ketchup and put it on everything."
Right.
So I see that group of people, but then there are those who are like, "Nope, nope, nope. This was not racist." And now I've seen conservatives calling other Black conservatives coon for this, because they don't agree that this was a racially motivated crime. Like, let's say Candace Owens, she hasn't made a conclusion on that, but we all agree that this murder. This was I'm not sure murder, but this was manslaughter. And period. It's just those two guys were just in the wrong. Nevertheless, the context around it doesn't necessarily say that this was racially motivated. But you don't have to be called a coon for believing that.
Right. You're exactly right. It's like, I don't see how this was racially motivated just because he was Black and they happened to be white. If it were a white guy that broke into the house or did whatever, if there was a white guy that was a suspect, the same outcome would have happened. The only difference is we wouldn't be talking about it because we wouldn't know about it. It wouldn't be on the news.
Yeah.
Right. This could happen in a Black neighborhood. Lord knows it's happening in a Black neighborhood somewhere right now as we speak. A Black person's killing another Black person, but we're never going to know about it because it's not newsworthy. There's no political clout. There's no currency in it whatsoever. No,
Yeah.
let me take a knee on the football field. There's no Sean King. Nobody can cash in on it. So we don't want to talk about it, right? But it's like, we do call out racism when it exists, when we see it, when it's actually racism. But 9 times out of 10, because the whole leftist doctrine is identity politics, they have to seek out racism. They sniff it out like truffle pigs. They're everywhere just looking for racism. Remember, it was like 2017 where they're like, clouds are racist, trees, milk, farmers markets.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, come on, you guys are reaching here. I'm like, can't anybody see that this is so desperate? This reeks of desperation. Just yesterday, when Trump told the Asian woman, it just so happened to be an Asian woman who asked him about the coronavirus thing. She asked some question about it, and he goes, "Why don't you ask China?" and they're calling it racist
She's like,
because she happened to be because she's Asian. So who's racist? Trump for telling her go ask China where the virus originated, or the people who are only focused on the fact that she's an Asian reporter?
yeah,
Those are the real racists. It's always projection. And it's like, okay, if Trump were to tell me, if I asked him some question and he said, I don't know, Mike, why don't you go ask Africa? Okay, then you could be like, all right, dude. But if she just so happened to be Asian, but she asked the same question that most of her white reporter counterparts would ask, why all of a sudden it's racist? Because she's Asian. Who's even caring that she's Asian except for the people that are calling this racist, which are, again, white progressive liberals.
well,
Those are the racists.
She was the one that said,
Yeah.
did you just say that because I'm China? Like,
yeah. But yeah. As far as black conservatives warring with each other, I think we know the two big ones. Amazing Lucas and Brandon Tatum have been going at it for months. And I find it really fascinating because I like both of their channels. I agree with Amazing Lucas a little bit more than Tatum, but it just depends on the issue. Like, they both have really good points, and they're both very effective at getting a message across. They both have huge audience, huge platform. I just think I'm not surprised by it, because just because we all agree on certain things doesn't mean that we come to the same conclusions on shootings or police brutality or whatever it is. I just think that this case is really driving a wedge between black conservatives, specifically on YouTube, when we should really be promoting each other instead of going to war like this. Like, I was watching, I think, Mind of Jamal the other day. I watched Kevin's Corner. I wanted to hear his take. I've subscribed to pretty much every black conservative you can name on YouTube because I like to hear their perspective and see where I differ from them. Because otherwise, when I hear them, like when I listen to like an ABL or somebody, it feels like he's preaching to the choir. It's like, I agree with you on everything. So I watch those videos. But with cases like this, where I feel like my opinion might be in the minority, I want to see what other people have to say. It's just interesting that egos are getting involved now.
yeah,
It's like personal attacks and egos. And I think that hurts the movement, which the whole reason I think a lot of us have platforms is so we can reach other people. Right. So then that looks sloppy if we're just going to be fighting over this and calling each other coon.
yeah. I think that's unnecessary. But I like the healthy disagreement there. I like the actual logical disagreement. My thing is, I don't like when we start acting like leftists, in the sense of we not only get in our feelings, but we take it super personal, and then we give these like insults, which I think is okay to a degree. But then when you just put out these like shut down insults, like you're a coon or you're a white supremacist or you're a racist, just to shut people's minds off so that they will stop listening to you, I think, okay, that's turning to more of a left-leaning thing. And then my thing is, you're definitely a leftist when you start making physical threats, because of someone's opinion. That is just very, to me, in my opinion, that's just weak sauce. That is, I'm just saying, that's kind of gay. I mean, that's so weak. I mean, why would you take it to the next level because you cannot handle like a rhetorical battle? It's just, right. You fight words with words, and you fight fist with fist. I mean, that's just the rules. You don't just punch someone because their words hurt you so much that you like, I can't find other words to attack him with. That is my issue, is when people start making physical attacks, like, this.
Because they're putting their intellectual inferiority on display. They're like, well, he just said a bunch of big words, and I don't know how to process what he said to me, but I know it makes me feel a certain way, so I just want to fight the dude. And truth be told, I've only ever been threatened by people who are on the left. It's always them that are violent. It's always them that go out of their way to give my Facebook page a negative review, or they'll see one of my videos and then they'll send me this long, drawn out, emotional message with no rationality at all. And then they name call me. I'm like, that's not a good argument. That's not going to get me to even pay you attention, let alone agree with you on anything. It's like, people get so wrapped up in their emotions, and then they let it get the best of them. It clouds their judgment. And that's another thing I want to bring up while we're talking about it. With this case, most people don't know about this, but the homeowner has been threatened, and so has the cameraman. So the guy that was recording the video, he was transparent with the cops. He came forward. He said why he recorded it. He's like, hey, here's the footage. First of all, why are people threatening the guy that recorded it? Shouldn't they be grateful that somebody got it on camera? Isn't that like the biggest piece of evidence? And it's not like he was recording it so he could get murder on film. They're making it seem like he was an accomplice to murder and he was recording it so that they could watch it later. Like, yeah, we got him. He went down. It's like people just forget about all this stuff. They're just so emotionally driven. So they're threatening this guy. He fears for his life. And all he did was record the video and turn it over to the police. He didn't hide it. He's been transparent. He's been cooperative. And then the homeowner, the guy that's having his house built, I guess the construction site, he's getting threats. Like what he said, nothing was stolen. He wasn't there. He's like an innocent bystander in all of this, but he's getting threats. And then a black dude just got arrested for making a fake Facebook page that was supposed to be in support of the McMichaels. So he made a fake Facebook page so that he could pretend online that there are a bunch of people who support the McMichaels that are intimidating the people who support Ahmaud. So he's trying to fuel chaos. So he pretty much wants his powder keg to explode.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. At that point, Satan's controlling your mind, because who does that? Who wants to see violence? Who do you know that wants to see violence? I don't want to see violence. This whole thing is bad. But there are actually people who want to see the world burn.
Yeah.
And I say that's why I say it's spiritual warfare. There's only good and evil, right and wrong. There's no racism and all these other things like Jesse Lee Peterson says. It's just hatred. Either you have the hate vibration or you have the love vibration. There's only that, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you say that, I was thinking about that other Facebook group page that's in support of the McMichaels.
Yeah.
It has maybe like 100,000 people in the group, and people keep sharing it saying, look at this, because it says these were only God-fearing people who wanted to protect their community. And it's written in such a, I guess caricature way of Christians that like everyone believed that, see, these are some racist evangelicals out there who are trying to support these guys. And then when you click on it, you join the group. I mean, first it has these questionnaires that is obviously like trollish. And then later you look at all the comments. A lot of it is just trolling and just memes. But the point of it was just to actually throw people off, have people have the impression that there is a bunch of white racists out there supporting those two men. And yeah, it's really just to create chaos, as you said. But people, they didn't even do their research, or at least check the group out or join it to see that it's a troll account. But it is what it is. People, a lot of people like chaos. Actually, I mean, I personally like it too. In the sense, if I feel like, hey, this is going to have my enemy destroyed, there's something inside of me that says, yes, I want it. I really want to see them. Like, I really want the Clintons of the world to betray each other. We want to actually confuse the enemy. So yeah, there's reasons why people make these troll accounts, but at the same time, it's clear that if you need to help racism out, obviously racism is not strong enough. It's just the Jussie Smollets of the world. They're coming up to rear their heads and do what they can.
We're on Jussie Smollett like volume 8. I feel like ever since Jussie Smollett like set the tone for fake hate crimes, it's always going to be sloppy. When you're telling a lie, when you're committed to a lie, you're going to surprise yourself. You don't know what you're going to do. You have to improvise. And that's why a lot of these hate crimes, that's why the darkness gets exposed to the light, because the truth is always going to prevail in these cases. You know, when someone like the dude, the football player, the idiot football player that vandalized his own restaurant and then drew a swastika backwards on, like, first of all, who are the white people that are actually committing these crimes and drawing swastikas and all that? Right? For every one white person like that, there's probably 10 million who would shame them and disown them anyway. So, like, to even give acknowledgement to the few that exist just shows that America's come a long way. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's like, if you have to fake a hate crime against yourself, then racism must be on life support. That's why they only talk about reported hate crimes. They say reported hate crimes are on the rise since Trump has been in office. It's like, yeah, reported hate crimes. But when you dig into the facts of each case, you see the person perpetrated against themselves. Jussie Smollett was just the biggest high profile one. You would think that Erica Thomas and all these other idiots, even LeBron James, I think, was caught with, I guess, I don't know what it was, spray paint on the side of a barn or a garage or something on his property. And it turned out it was a black person that did it. A black person that defaced a black statue during, I think it was Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
A black person did it. It's also like, okay, you want to draw this, you want to try to drum up the racial tension, but you're sloppy at it. And it's like, who does that? What possesses you to want to do something like that? It's because the media, the clout that you can get. There's a lot of currency in being a victim. It's funny when they say, you guys are just fake black conservatives. You're doing it for the money. It's like, we're getting demonetized. We're getting deplatformed. If we wanted to make money, we would be on the left crying racism. Like, oh, my rice is racism. That box of cereal, that character offends me. We'd be social justice warriors.
Yeah.
That's where the money's at.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? This racist now. I mean, in my day, that just meant 666. That was the Illuminati. But now, oh no, white supremacists have it. And so for them, like, the white supremacists are the Illuminati. Like, they are the omnipresent, beings that are actually orchestrating every, bad thing that happens to minorities or black people in particular. So it's just like they want to, the way they see it, when they're making these fake, these hate crimes, these fake hate crimes, they think they're making a movie. They're trying to, create this scene to show, look, these things exist. Just imagine that it exists, like you're watching a movie. Because when you make a movie, you don't say this is a fake hate crime in the movie. This is just highlighting the ones that actually exist. So they feel like they're not really lying because it exists somewhere, just not right here. We're just trying to show you it exists by me doing it myself. Just I'm making an art. They think they're doing artwork in a sense. So they feel like they're helping in a roundabout way by having people aware of this I guess kind of racism. That's why Jussie Smollett feels somewhat justified a little bit with his little scheme of making up a hate crime. He wasn't planning to tell people it was all a show. He wasn't planning to tell people it was a prank. That's that's the thing. Because once you go so deep into it, you can't say it's a prank, because you tried to get people like in a war. You really wanted people to attack each other, and you allowed, I guess, the economy to tank in some way. You allowed people to choose sides and not buy from this store or talk to that guy, or not, be friends with a white guy because you felt like he was siding with, this or that person. So yeah, that's how they kind of think a little bit. They just feel like they're telling a story. Yeah.
Well, this has been a great conversation, man. We could keep this going, obviously, till the cows come home, but we got stuff to do here. But let the people know where they can find you once again, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Avenus Hermes, Justin Wilson. I haven't put out a video in like a couple of weeks. I've been doing a lot of lives on Facebook. because I've been doing a lot, I guess, shows called The Hot Seat. But, you know, I've been focused more on religion than politics recently. But yeah, you can still find me there. And yeah, check me out there on Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, and I want to wrap up by giving Shelly a shout out. Let me put that on the screen. Everyone desires due process until it's someone else who is rightfully and legally entitled to it. Remove due process and all liberties follow. So true. Thank you for the super chat, Shelly. We'll be back soon. As always, guys, like, share, subscribe, follow me on social media accounts. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just type in Mike Nificent 813. I should pop right up. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next stream. Click end here.
See you.